After choking for 4 straight years, Pep Guardiola has now managed to lead Manchester City to 2 Champions League finals in 3 years. That's pretty impressive for any coach, but here's the reality. Pep Guardiola is really about to lose 2 European finals in 3 years. He lost the match against Chelsea in Porto in 2021, and he'll also lose to Inter Milan in Istanbul on the 10th of June. And no, we're not saying this because we're Inter Milan, Liverpool, Man United or Arsenal fans. We're saying this simply because it's written in the stars. Come with us and we'll tell you why Manchester City will lose the 2023 Champions League final. Now, first of all, Pep has a habit of tinkering and overthinking when it comes to the Champions League. It worked when he was at Barcelona, with him winning a final with Yaya Touré at centre-back. But since he became Man City boss, it's not worked so well. In 2019, when he went up against Spurs in the quarter-final, he put key players like Kevin De Bruyne, Vincent Kompany and Leroy Sané on the bench. And it cost him dearly as City ended up losing that game. In the second leg, he tried to correct his errors by starting Kevin De Bruyne and company, but it was already too late. City won the game on the night, but they were knocked out on the away goal rule. The following year, Pep showed that he still hadn't learnt his lesson. 2020 was the year that everyone said was supposed to be Man City's year. They'd knocked out Real Madrid themselves. Barcelona just weren't good enough. Chelsea, Juventus and Liverpool were all knocked out in the round of 16. So the only real European powerhouse City would have had to contend with was Bayern. But they'd have to get past Lyon in the quarter-final first. It was a one-leg tie that Pep should have approached like a final, but again, he overthought it. All season he'd used a 4-man defence and it worked out great for him. But in that game, he decided to go for a 3-man defence, partnering Laporte with an inexperienced Eric Garcia and an out-of-position Fernandinho. And he didn't go for the 3-man defence because of injuries. He had Kyle Walker and Cancelo on the pitch that day, so he could have easily played a back four with Laporte and Eric Garcia or John Stones as the 2 centre-backs. That would have also given him the opportunity to have an extra attacker on the pitch, maybe Mahrez or Bernardo Silva. And against a more inferior opponent, it would have been smarter to just maintain your normal lineup and assert dominance from start to finish. Tinkering with the formation probably gave Lyon the psychological upper hand, and that cost Man City as they lost the game 3-1 and were knocked out. Now, for those of you who are saying that things are obviously different because he's managed to get to the final this time around, remember that he also got to the final in 2021. Even though he was facing a familiar opponent in Chelsea, Pep still overthought things. Perhaps you could even say that that was the reason he overthought things. He tinkered with the formation so badly that from when the starting lineup got published, everybody knew that Pep was about to lose that game. Pep Guardiola had 2 strikers in the squad in Aguero and Jesus, but he started none of them. He had 2 defensive midfielders in the squad in Rodri and Fernandinho, but he started none of them. He benched Cancelo all game and instead decided to play Zinchenko. All this scrambling cost him dearly, as a Chelsea team, who obviously could never match that City team player for player, ended up stealing a 1-0 win and winning the trophy. Now, one pattern that we've noticed here is that Pep seems to fold tactically when he's going up against an inferior team. Monaco in 2017, Spurs in 2019, Lyon in 2020, Chelsea in 2021, and you could also throw in Real Madrid in 2022. While Madrid will always have their Champions League reputation, City were obviously the better team over the 2 legs in 2022. So don't be surprised if going against an obviously inferior Inter Milan side in the final causes Pep to overthink and then tinker with the formation. And the reason he's likely to overthink is because of pressure. We have to be honest, the pressure to deliver a Champions League is heavier on Pep Guardiola than any other manager in the world right now. He has not won the trophy in more than 10 years now, but he's spent a truckload of money in that time. Many have also reduced his success in the competition with Barcelona to him having the greatest player ever on his team. So he'll be itching to prove that he can actually win the Champions League without Lionel Messi. Also, there's a whole lot riding on this particular final. Apart from the fact that it would be the first UCL trophy in Man City's entire history, it could also be what stands between them and a European treble. So it's normal that he'd feel some pressure going into that game. Meanwhile, his opponents have already overachieved by getting this far. Of course, they would love to win it, but neither the fans nor the owners of the club will be putting so much pressure on them to be perfect. And when you're under a lot of pressure going against a team that is under little to no pressure at all, it could get really tricky. Also, the conspiracy theories seem to be favouring Inter Milan. For example, since 2013 there's always been at least one Croatian Champions League winner every year. In 2013 it was Mandzukic, in 2014 it was Modric, 2015 Rakitic, 2016 to 2018 Modric and Kovacic, 2019 Lovren, 2020 Perisic, 2021 Kovacic, and 2022 Modric. This time around there's only one Croatian in the final, and he plays for Inter Milan, Marcelo Brozovic. So there's a huge chance for this streak to be extended to 10 years this year. Also, it's been proven to be really difficult for a team who's never won the Champions League to win it for the first time. We have seen it happen over and over again, even in recent years. Arsenal in 2006, Chelsea in 2008, Atletico in 2014 and 2016, Spurs in 2019, PSG in 2020, and Man City themselves in 2021. But there's a hack: the Munich magic. For teams that have never won the Champions League before, Munich is usually where it happens first for them. Nottingham Forest won it for the first time in Munich in 1979, same for Marseille in 1993, Dortmund in 97 and Chelsea in 2012. And the next time the Champions League final will be played in Munich is in 2025. So Man City might have to wait 2 more years to win their very first European trophy. But what's your opinion on all this? Do you think that Pep will win the Champions League in June, in spite of all the points we've made in this video? Or do you think the big ears will elude him yet again? Share your thoughts with us in the comments.